Hey everybody, welcome to Freemotion Fridays. I'm going to just do a couple of quick checks. If you can see really well and if the sound is good, can you let me know, give me a thumbs up, and I'm going to do a quick check and make sure I can read your comments. So give me just a second and we'll get started. I can see, but I don't see any comments yet. We only have 3 people. That's okay. You 3 people are very important. So we will get started. Happy Friday to you too, Janet. I love Freemotion Fridays. I like that I have created a window of time where I'm forcing myself to practice my Freemotion. So it's so easy to let time get away from us. And this is a way that I make sure that I have a process that I'm practicing this. Hello, Miss Linda. Hi, Joanne. Joanne, I was just in upstate New York recently. Oh, my cousin lives in Glens Falls, and Troy, New York is where my dad was. Cohoes, that's where he was born and from, and it was fun to kind of get back there and see that area of the country. Cold but beautiful. So we're going to work on another area of the quilt. So we worked on a couple of sides. We've kind of done this side, that side that's up there. Here, I'll just pull it up so you can see it. We did some of the quilting here. This is still unquilted, this corner right here, so we'll probably do these 3 as a grouping. But we kind of did this little space right here and this border. And then we have maybe these 2 right here. So we still have a few sections that we're going to work on. Today we're going to work on this border right here, and I love it. And I'm going to show it to you on the back. I actually practiced it and kind of decided what I was going to do. I did a few different things, and then I've got a few ideas for a couple of these. So we may not be able to get all of this section quilted, but I think we can get a good bit of it. Oh, good morning from Australia. I can't imagine what time it is there. So, and I appreciate Nana's here. Nana's here too. So, lots of people from far away, but so glad to have you here. I'm going to flip it over and we're going to look at this on the back. See, I was practicing. I told you guys I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I wanted to do a little testing and find out. So I started working on this, and I was trying to figure out the path, and I like this. I don't think this is ugly or anything, but I felt like it was hard to keep it organized. And so as I was playing around and I was trying some different things, I came up with this, and I actually like this better. And this has a really great ability to organize the space because this S curve splits it nicely and it creates the little places for the loops. So this is what we're going to do today. So I will draw it right on the back here, and I'll give you a couple of other tips. Oh, I just popped my needle. Hopefully I didn't do any damage. Let's put it up here, and I'll get you in close so you can see it a little tighter with me. Let's get you tight. You're waiting on a snowstorm? Oh my goodness, I won't lie. I'm really happy that I'm not there. I am not a snow person, and I do not like the cold really at all. So kind of glad to be in a little warmer area of the world. Okay, let's see. I'm looking for my purple pen, but for some reason I can't find it. I thought I brought it out here, but it's missing. It's AWOL. This is like an orange peel shape right there. If I quilt just an S curve like that, and I want to kind of get this up a little bit, but not too tight right here and not too tight right here. And you'll see why in just a minute. So let it be a little gentle, but getting right back to this section. Now, when you're here, I want a nice pretty line coming back, and I'm going to make this curl right there. And you're going to come back and you're going to complete that by closing this down to this center point. Okay, right at the tip of your design. Now here is why I need this space, why you can't arc this up too tight. you're going to come from this side now, and you're going to follow, and you're going to put the curl in on that side and come back. And the reason you're coming back a little far is to be able to kind of make this a nice smooth connect to the corner. Like you kind of want this to be like it follows right there smoothly. So if I don't come back very far, then I can't get that nice curve. So don't be afraid to come back a little further. Well, don't you think that looks cool? So then from this point, we're going to track, and I'm going to cover this up. I want you to see that I want these two to go a certain way. Okay, so we can go right across the top right there. That gets us right to this next one. And what I want is I want it to be a mirror. So if this curl is on that side going that way, I want this curl to go the opposite way, which means that the S curve has to go the opposite way. Now that is probably the trickiest part of this design, right? There's your S curve. So we're over here now. You're going to take the long side and do that curl first. Okay, do this curl first. Coming back and then just getting into the corner right there. And then this is that opening right here that you can use to come back and do that side. Come back a little and then make your curve nice and pretty right into the corner. When I do these mirrored like this, I see that these are different. I don't care, whatever, it's all gonna work out. Don't be too picky about see how these are not lined up so perfectly. It's all gonna be fine. But what you'll get is this fun mirror like this one. See how these are gonna go together and then apart and then together. That's what we want when we're doing it. That's why we're reversing it. If you didn't want that, you could just do them all the same direction. Sometimes changes in directions can be a big pain in the boot and they make it harder. You know, if you're having to think each time, that is more trouble. So you can do them all the same direction, but I thought that looked really cute, so we're gonna go with that. Okay, it's a lot easier to actually sew it than it is to draw it, if you can believe that. All right, let's get it up here and get ready. So we'll just start and we'll kind of, do maybe 6 of these so we can see the pattern, okay? Oh, and my thread is really long, so I'm going to cut it just for a moment so I don't have this long thing hanging out. Okay, let's see, here we go. So we'll start right there, pick it up right at the corner. And if you have some trouble initially when you're starting it, getting that correct feel of it and how deep you want your S, you can just go ahead and do it with a pen. It's okay. Don't feel like you're, trapped or not. So remember what we said. The first one is we're going to take this longer swoop into the curl. I could try to do the curl on that side, but I like that you're coming here and you get right back and then you go the other way. So you're always going to follow this longer side first. Put your curl in and then just follow it back. And if your curl doesn't track perfectly, who cares? It's okay. It can be like a ribbon. It's no big deal. And then just follow right along. We'll just go right along this. Okay. Oh, my machine's a little squeaky. I think it's time for an annual service because I've been using it a lot. So somebody said it looks good, but might be difficult to follow. So my advice is draw it out on paper and practice it on paper a few times. That is what gets that motion in there and you're not wasting anything. You could use your ruler, and these are just circles that are overlapping at the middle. So this circle is touching this one right here. This is where they connect. So this is half and this is the next one. And then this circle right here is aligned right on the center intersection. So this is essentially 2 rows of circle that are offset by 1 inch. So you can easily use your ruler, just draw that out on paper with your stitching line discs, and then you can draw this out, and that will definitely make it easier for you. So this arc, the S is going like that. Okay, so it's wigging out. So we want to go the opposite way. So we're going to go this way. Okay, and then this is the long side here. There's the curl. Come back a little ways and then close it, and then come over the top and close it. And then we'll just come along right there. So same thing. Now if this one's going this way, I want the other one to S-curve out first and then in. And then you're going to follow the long side and make a little curl, coming back and back to the corner and then over the top. Okay, and then just carefully stitch right along your circle. This is great practice to be able to travel so that you have a really nice smooth way of traveling. If you can start practicing this and you're going to get better at it, it's really going to help you because that'll definitely make it much easier to quilt. So there's my curl right there. And then back up. Curl all the way around and then back in. So we'll just do maybe one or two more. And you can see that this actually has the potential to kind of go pretty quickly. Okay, this way. And then back over the top, following the curve a little bit. And then just right into there, a little slower there, and let's go ahead and remember which direction we want to go this time. I can already tell that as I'm doing it a few more times, I can feel the path more smoothly. So I bet that these ones will be a little bit better than the first ones that we did. So we'll do one last one and then we'll kind of pull it out and see what we get. So again on this side, so I can do that longer piece of the curl. And to the corner and then over the top. And down to the corner. So I'll do a little tacking right here. We'll just tack that in. I won't lie, when I do these, I just want to fill it all in because I just want to do it and be done with it. But we got a lot of other things we want to share, so. All right, let me cut that. So we've pulled up that bobbin thread and we have some very small micro tacking in there to make sure that that won't come out. And I think it looks awesome. What do you think? Aren't those cute? Kind of get like a weird little heart right there. And then this is like a little heart that way. So I do think that putting them the different directions is actually going to give you a lot of extra value in the design. It's totally worth doing that. I think it looks so pretty. Okay, good. I'm glad. I hope you think it's pretty too. I can't be too, you know, like goo-gaw on my own stuff, right? That's a little bit weird. Well, Kim, thank you. I'm glad you think it looks gorgeous. So I hope you'll try it. And if you have bigger circles or smaller circles, you can do them on different scales. So that way you can practice that at different sizes. If we only practice it at one size, then it's more difficult for us to do it later when it is, you know, a different scale. Okay, so that was one of our designs. That was these intersecting circles. So let's cut some threads, make sure we don't get trapped. Okay, good. I just don't like to have loose tails hanging out. I feel like that's always a recipe for that to get wrapped around your foot or your needle and cause problems. So let's move on to this one today. Now, this is such a cute design, so I'm just going to pull it up a little bit so you can see it. And I think it does really benefit from the potential to have a little bit of extra detail. Right in these small spaces, all I'm going to do is just put some extra stitching. Maybe 2 to 3 lines will actually fill in these little spaces right here, which will punch down this center portion. So if these are punched right here, this little finger, then this should be open, right? The relationship would be punch here and then open. If this is open, then these right here should be punched down, and then this will be open. So visually, the line is going to be like this. We're going to do punch, punch. So we're going to take this line right here as the travel. We'll start in the center and we'll fill this in, and then we'll come and fill this in over here, and this connects right here. So we can fill this one, come down and go there, and travel and fill and cross and down. So the path is pretty simple. It's not complicated. Basically, these fingers and this outer finger are going to be open. If you have trouble remembering what needs to be filled in, just put the little dots on there, okay? Just like that. So those are all going to be filled in, and then dot, dot, like that. And of course, if I had my air erase marker, which I usually do, that would be even better, because then I wouldn't have to go back and get those out. But let's go ahead and we'll start. Let's talk about the path. I'm going to show you on the back what we have planned. Okay, in here, I'm just going to kind of like scribble that in. You know, I think I'll do some straight lines actually, just because that will push the line out. Here, we're going to kind of follow this and do like a little, let me see if I can put a pointer on there. Travel on the arc, follow this and come back, come up, travel, come back, up, travel. And this is basically a straight line pretty much in the center. And then same thing, we'll just keep going, out and travel, back, out and travel, and we'll follow that line. If we need to come down, we'll follow this line. If we need to go to the next one, we're already in the right position, right? So we'll have to basically do 2 and come back, and then we'll do the next 2 and we'll come back. Oh, that's a lot of words. Just sew it, right? Okay, so here we go. So this part right here is very, very, very narrow. It's very tiny. So let's see if we can get in a little more, get a better view for you guys. And I'm going to try to make it just a little bit zoomed in too. So how's that? You can see it really well. So we'll pick one of these little fingers, and basically I'm just going to try to come right inside the line all the way to the other side, and maybe just one more in the middle, and maybe one more to get back out. So basically we're just kind of creeping right inside the stitch lines in like little ovals, progressively smaller ovals. As we do this one, what I want to do is I'm going to creep out to there, go just a few stitches. You could even maybe use like a count. I want to be about 1 inch away each time when I come up. So like when I come up to this next position out here, I want to be 1 inch, 1/8 of an inch away. So as I'm arcing, I'm sort of following the same line, but I'm just winging out a tiny bit. So here I don't even need to go all the way back because I'm basically in the center now. So I'm just going to come up to the top, and we'll just kind of fill that in. And now I can start going down this way. So now we have to sort of go this way and travel and come down. And then up to the next one and travel and come back. And we want to start curving it a little bit so we follow that outer curve right there. Okay? and then I'll go right to that next section. So I'm just going to turn it a little bit so you can see. You get this really cool pink texture there because you got a lot of stitches in there. So now let's do the next one. We'll just creep up a tiny bit so we can start echoing right along that line. 1/8 of an inch. So it's very small movements. And that way, you know what? If you make a mistake, it's so small, nobody will notice. Nobody will care. You can just work on improving it each time. And then as we get close to the top, don't go all the way back because we don't need to. We're basically already in a line. And then when we're at the center, that's when you can go all the way back down and start working your way on the other side. And I'm going to start trying to curve it a little bit now so I can follow that curve. So my hands are working together. They're helping me to shift the sandwich evenly so that I can move at a nice smooth pace, these two hands. If you need a little grip, you can always do this little finger pinch like that. That'll help you. So remember what we said, we're doing 2. So what do we have to do now? We have to come down and get this little finger right here. So this is where I can travel right along the stitch line right there until I get there. And now just echo those stitches a little bit on the inside. Do it one more time and one more time. And then I'll just come right down the middle and then I'm at the center. So that is the pattern set that's going to give you that. So there should be 8 of these because there's 8 circles. So this is going to get you basically 2 at a time for each pattern set. So then here's the next one. Follow the stitching right along the inside. Okay, we're just filling it in and then a little smaller oval. Okay, and then right down the center there to fill it in, which gets us right to this position. And then we'll just start filling it in. So we'll go a little bit faster because a little bit of speed makes sure that the needle is moving and not trapping you and getting you stuck. So go ahead and add a little bit of speed if you can. So right here, you really want to think about they're wider on the outside on purpose. They have to be wider because it's narrow at the base and it's much wider out on the outer edges. So that's why we need that little 1/8 space to take that up. Okay, so then again, we're already at the next position. So we'll just take 1 or 2 stitches right here and follow that down. And just try to keep the curve nice and smooth. And we're right up to the top, so come straight down this time. And then we'll start curving these ones. And we'll fill that. Now we've completed those 2 cycles and we're just going to follow this down to that central point. And then this one is a little bit narrower even than some of the other ones, but we'll just fill it in the best we can. We still need to be able to get down to the bottom. So whatever we do, we just need to end at the bottom, at the center position. Okay, so I'll tack it right now. I can just put a few extra stitches right in this spot right here, just since that'll be filled in later anyway. We'll just tack it. So Betty asked, am I staying inside the circle or am I touching them? I think it's okay either way. So I don't know, it's pretty small. I usually am trying to be right on the inside of the line and not actually on that stitch line. That's my preferred, but you know, you can stitch right on that line. This pink is in this colorway. It's, oh, sorry guys, I bumped you, sorry. See how the pink is in this colorway already? So if you had just a little pink right against this, nobody would notice. The stitching is really fine, but you can see you get an actual pattern here. We're actually creating directionality. We're not just filling this in any old way. We're actually creating a pathway that's letting us travel. Ooh, I would go back in and just put another line right there if you wanted to, because that just looks wonky. It won't matter when you look at it out like that. Nobody will see it. But if that bothered you, just put another line in there. Nobody cares, right? But see how we're gonna get a little tacking right here in the center, which will compress that a little. Then that's gonna make these pieces here really show out and give them that great texture that we want. So this is what you're gonna get on the back. I know it's kind of messy because I have all this stitching on there and all this writing, but it's pretty. You're going to get that nice difference in texture, and that's what we want, definitely. Okay, let's see where we're at. So I'm definitely going to Rhodes, so if you are, come and visit me. I'll be in the Moore's sewing booth with Westerly, and I would love to say hi. I know that COVID has reared its ugly head some more, but I'll be shielded, and everybody there has to be vaccinated, and so hopefully that will help prevent it. If you have a chance, we'd love to see you for sure. Okay, so we did those two, so let's go ahead and we'll move on to the next one. This one, I actually like this, and I don't necessarily feel like this needs a lot of extra quilting. It's actually quite pretty, and it's a background fill, so like if I did this in a large area, there's no way I'm going to do tight fills on this over a large area of the quilt. It's pretty busy all on its own, and I like it. However, if you wanted to, and you felt like some of the areas were big, and I'll show you, like I think this is big, I think this is big, and maybe that, and I don't want my fills here to touch. I want them not to touch. So what I thought might be fun is maybe just picking a couple of spaces and kind of saying, okay, this one right here, maybe this one right here, and I don't know, let's see, maybe we'll do this one. See that? I feel like these are really close to each other, and this is too close too. So let's maybe just do this one over here. And you can decide, you know, and I'll also show you that this is the boundary right here of the quilt. This side's actually a little bigger than it should be. This potentially, I wouldn't want to fill that in. It's too close to this, but if we just want to put a little random detail, what I thought would be fun is just to put some smaller circles in there. And the rationale for the choice of design is this is already a circle. These are already circles. So we don't necessarily want to compete with the existing design, but if we put something in like a circle, what we're doing is we're re-emphasizing that circular nature. So I'm just gonna go around, and there's that space, and they don't have to fill everything. I'm not trying to make this perfectly dense, you know, just try to do your figure 8 and then travel a little bit to the next area. And here we'll just fill that in as best we can. Okay, I'm in the seam right now, and now I want to travel to another spot. So in order to do that, I don't want to cut my threads. Let's just go ahead and we'll travel. So nice and easy. Anytime you're doing that kind of travel, just make sure that you're actually moving the sandwich. Try not to stitch right in the same place. The smoother action is when you're actually moving the sandwich. That's when you're going to get that nice pretty spot. Rather than start the circle right there where it's so narrow and I can barely fit one in, I've just moved up a few stitches so that I can have a little space to make a circle. And I'm going to fill this side first and then kind of fill backwards to the other side. We'll put a little baby right in there. 1.5 times around. And then I'm going to just kind of scoot out a little bit here so I can get right into this next spot because it's a little narrow right there. Okay, and then I'll travel until I can get to that seam right there. So that one right there is real close to the seam, and now I can travel. So again, look out in front when you're traveling. Okay, try not to look exactly where the needle is. You're looking a little bit out in front because you need to be moving in that direction. It's kind of like driving a car. And let's see, I think I will fill from up here down just because this is really wide down here, and this would be a easier transition. So we'll just come up here and we'll just start with a little circle right there. And a little bigger one. And now we'll go kind of side to side to fill these. And then I'll just make a big one there that'll kind of touch that other side. So this is, again, very light thread. So this is very subtle changes in this texture right here. It's not highly visible because they're not a different color. They're not high contrast. But I think it's just fun. And it just breaks up the monotony of having everything be the same right there. So that can be just a way to just capture the viewer's eye, to bring them back a little bit. And I can evaluate if there's more needed. See, we won't be able to really see it too well. Darn it. Well, I'll take a picture of it later, but I'll kind of show you what we've got right there. So we just got some circles. You know, it just changes it up just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a perfect fit. As long as it fills that in, people are still going to look for that, okay? All right, so then the last one, let's move over to this one. This one, these lines in the center are pretty close together already, and there's only 2 of them. There's not a way to do fill, open, fill, so I'm going to leave these alone. I think it would be a mistake to try to put a fill in this space where it's already sort of the defining cross of this space. These are much bigger out here, and each one of these has 3. So what I think would be good would be to fill in this and this, and here fill in that and that. These already will kind of have their own openness, and we don't want to crowd that. So by really compressing this, making this open and compressing that, I think that is the best relationship that we can get in this space. So let me flip it over. I did a few different ideas. This one is a really rounded figure 8, and sometimes these can even overlap each other, and I felt like this was a little too busy for this space. Like it just was too full, more than I wanted. And then this one is the wishbone, but it's basically where the loops are touching almost. And I still felt like even though these were skinnier, that was too big. The one that I ended up liking the best is this open wishbone like that. Am I showing you the right one? This one. Because it has a little openness to it. It's not super dense. So you're going to get some little puffs right in there rather than everything together. So I think that's the one that we're going to use. And you can always try different ones. So this is really a great way to practice this. If you try to do it without moving your sandwich, I will not lie to you, I have trouble doing wishbones every direction. I think that they're hard, you know, to do that. Right here where you're going to try to follow the line in the center like this, okay? This is curvy, so we want the wishbones to basically sort of be in the middle of that space. So little open, like that. So when I reach out, the wishbone comes back on itself. So if I want a little bit of space in between my loop, I need to plan for that. If this is coming down and I want a little space, the loop has to go out in front of that, like that. Okay, so you're gonna have to reach a little bit and then come back to fill the space. Reach and come back, like that. And that center line can be really useful in helping you make sure that your design is curving around to follow the arc right there. Yeah, Dee, I agree. I felt like they were not easy. When you start right here, kind of start right in the middle, because that's the cross point, and that lets this little loop kind of fit in this lonely triangle, right? So that's what we'll try to get. So right here, we're sort of getting right to the middle because I can't fit another loop up there. So let's go ahead and we'll try to do a couple of these, and we'll do these two, and then we'll show, since we'll be out here, we'll come here and we'll work in and we'll cross over and fill like this, and then we'll have to travel and come this way each time. So there is some travel path that we can use, or we can start on the inside. You know, it's up to us. Either way, we're going to have to travel. Okay, so I'll try to get my needle right where that sort of center mark is. And let's turn this just a little bit so you can see maybe better as we're moving. See, that's my little cheat, right? So that I can definitely have it the direction that I want. Oh. So Linda mentioned that, Linda Martindale mentioned that her maiden name's Smith, S, so she's had a lot of practice making S's. What a great idea. The thing with these being so short, the key is that this stretch, right? What she's talking about is these are not fully an S, it's very short. This is almost like a little C right there, and then elongated, and then a little C and elongated, and then a little C and elongated. So when you're sewing this, when you get to this point up here, you're already thinking, okay, I've got to turn around. Okay, as soon as you're down here, this is your little C on the bottom. I got to turn and now stretch. And then I got to turn and stretch and turn and stretch. That can be some little mantra that you might be able to use when you're sewing in order to encourage yourself. Okay, so little tacking stitches right there. And I'm going to try to go just short of the seam right there. I don't want to stitch all the way right to the seam. So I'm like 1 or 2 stitches inside that so I don't crowd the seam. So stretch. Another thing that I'm going to tell you that can help with this practice, print something off of the internet. Print somebody's perfect wishbone that looks good to you and practice that. Because a lot of this is repetition, and you need your brain to get the correct view of it, the nice working fit of it. If I try to do it in my brain and I don't have that movement, then I'm practicing it wrong. And I hate to say those words. I don't like to say you're doing it wrong. You know, everybody can do it however they want. But if you're looking for a specific shape and you can't get that in your own head, in your own brain yourself, if you trace somebody else's that is correct, then you have a better chance of getting more towards that perfect design that you're looking for, right? So let's go ahead, we'll scoot up to the top here. And again, this is the center of the design. And so again, this is that tricky one. We want to come in and put the little loop here to fill in this little small triangle, and then we'll stretch just a little bit less up on that side so that we can start getting going. Because this one, you know, with that little area right there is a little tricky, and there's going to be a little gap, so you could maybe make that just a little bit bigger. Ready? Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and make my little loop right there, and now I'm going to stretch and curve, and stretch and curve. And that one's a little bit smaller, but that let us get in a little tighter to this one over here. So we have to go up and around. There's no way that I'm going to cut my thread. I'm just going to keep going. So here, just push right straight across. Use both hands. Travel right on the line. And remember when we start, oh, I missed it. There's my start point. We want to be in the middle. That's what we said. We're going to start in the middle, and then we'll go down and put that first loop in, and then stretch, and stretch, and come back around. Stretch. And come basically to the center of that space right there. And then we'll travel up to the next one. Let's turn that. I don't think you're going to be able to see that. So I'm going to scoot just a little bit so we can be sewing towards you. So right now I got all this bulky stuff in my lap, right? It's not too big, but it's definitely enough that I need to manage it and keep it up on the working surface. And again, don't start from there. Go to the center of the space. You need to be in the middle, okay? And then we can backfill that first little triangle. Remember that we're going to go backwards. I think those bottom ones are a little harder because they have a much tighter curve. And then right to the center, and then we'll travel. So here, let's keep going, right on the line. I'm actually looking behind the needle to make sure that I'm orienting in the correct direction, because I can actually see the line of stitching back behind there. So then I'm right here in the center, and we'll just keep going. Backwards, and stretch. And here, and kind of come to the middle. And then we'll travel up to that next one. Oh, a little bonbon time there. Kind of went a little bit awry. So backwards, forwards, go back, stretch, backwards, stretch. And I think I can fit one more right in there to the center. And then we're on that last one. So you can see this one has a good ability to quilt up pretty easily, pretty quickly. Let's see if we can do this one maybe just a little bit closer for you guys so you can get a little better view of it. I'm going to just come in a little tighter right there. Okay, so it's wider. That little triangle is there on the back. So I'm going to go forward and reverse right there, and then stretch. Stretch out so that I can have space to go backwards. Stretch. And to the center right there. And then we'll come down and do that last one. So I'm in the middle, and I'm going to come out in that little triangle that kind of sticks out. So I'm going to just really try and smoothly stretch ahead to get that wishbone room for his last loop. Right there in the middle. And then I'll just go ahead and come right up that, since we're basically done right there. All right, cut some threads. I am cleaning up all of my threads as I go. Let's see. Oh, you guys, look what happened. Oh, that's bonbon time. I should have been doing this one. So this one will get ripped out because I'm not going to leave it like that. This is what we should have, right? You're going to have those space right in there and this as the gap, right? So, oh, that's fine. Yeah, I didn't skip a space. Darn it. Pay attention. but that's okay. You know, that happens. And this is fortunately a pretty small space, and you'd be surprised. Let me show you a little ripping technique real quick that I learned a long time ago. I don't know if you guys know this, but you know, typically some people, if they haven't been taught this or they don't know, I would not rip every one of these stitches. I essentially would rip every third. So I'm just gonna this is a pretty fine thread, but these stitches aren't really tiny. So just wanna get under one of them. Of course, on camera, hard to do, right? We're not gonna rip every one. We're gonna rip like every third one. Let me see if I can get in there. Like that. So don't rip every stitch, just rip every third one. And that way you don't have to worry about that. And then once you do that, if you rip every third and you kind of go along your space right there, these are pretty small, so a little tricky to rip them. But I can get in there. I probably need a sharper, a new one of these. Get a new one. If yours is old, you will be shocked at how amazing it is to have a new one. Don't use a dull ripper. They're just not worth it. It's just an exercise in frustration. So once you do every third one, all the stitches on the back basically will just come out, right? So you can see I can just a few rips and I already got that out right there, right? So that's a really easy way to do it. Every third stitch will help those just to come out really quickly. And I'll pull this out later. I won't do it on camera now, but yeah, just every third. Don't do every one. It'll go a lot faster. Just rip a whole bunch on the front and then you can pull the back thread out. Yeah, so Linda, my maiden name, it was Rivet, but it was Rivet, spelled R-I-V-E-T. So yeah, we were the Froggy family most of my life. All right, we've got one last one, and I am so excited about this one. I really thought, like, this is such a, you know, it's so organized. What could I do that could really make it unique and be free motion in this? And I love the design I came up with. So I'm going to draw it in one space for you guys. Let me see if I can. I am looking for that air erase marker because I know I have one and I just cannot find it. Oh, yes, look. I always have a spare. Thank the Lord. I love these things. They're so easy. I can have 2 bonbons. Thank you, Bonnie, because I'm hungry. Messing up makes me hungry. It definitely does. Okay, let's pull this out. I love my air erase markers. You guys know that. Okay, I was thinking I would start in the center. I hated how it looked. I could not make it do what I wanted it to do. It just didn't work. So I came up with this random idea to start up in the corner up here. So basically where this flattens out right here is where we're going to start. So we're going to go like this. We're going to make a curl. And we're going to follow it out, and it doesn't have to touch, or it can. You can ribbon or you can track back. As we come here, we're going to go to the center and then bump and then over and then travel a little bit and bump and over. Now I want you to see that where we're going is to the outside right there of this little sliver right there. And then I'm going to travel up to the next spot and I'll do the next arc. And into the center, bump over, echo, and you'll be right there again. And then you'll just keep traveling. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I don't want to mark too many of those because I want you to be able to see the stitching. So you're going to bring your needle to start right up here on this corner. I think we always want to start in the center. I do too. I mean, I kept thinking that that was what I needed to do, and I couldn't make the design work the way I wanted. So trying to use up a little bit of that space, and then coming out and just making a nice pretty curve back to the center, and then echo over the top, and travel up maybe like 2 stitches, and then just go to that boundary right there. And then you're going to travel up the boundary right there until you get to that same spot, and then you can just work right into your curl and then come back and then wing out and then echo over the top and a few stitches and echo one more time, and then you're right into that space right there. And then over the top, a couple stitches and one more echo, and then travel. Right when you get there, just start your curl right away and come back out. A little arc there, bounce, and then come back again and echo. I'm going to adjust my hands a little bit as I travel up because I'm kind of in a different orientation. So filling that in with the arc, and then come over, back. I think I went a little too far on that one. Oh well, it'll be fine. So nice and gentle. So with that one, I could not see as well. So now that I'm on this angle, I can actually see where the needle is. So it's a little bit easier. So again, arc in and to the seam, and then come around, and we're just going to fill that arc in right there. The reason I like this design is I felt like it softened this shape a little bit. It made it a little bit more romantic, a little bit softer, and it definitely is going to add some pretty detail in here. I'm going to just move these threads out of the way so they won't be in the design. And then we'll just stitch right back up to where we left off. Now, let's do one more thing. I'm going to just come down to here, right there, and I'm going to turn it so I can show you one more thing. This will be our last one for today. Oh, I'm loving it, you guys. I love it. It looks so pretty. What do you think? I'll get you in a little tighter. If you want to, you can fill in those little fingers right there. So we'll just put 3 so I can get back to the center, and we'll just go straight across. 1. So here we might have to do 4 because we have to get back. Okay, and then we'll do the next quadrant, the next grouping of 2. This one's even a little narrower, so come across, and we'll do this one. Oh, let's see if I can see him. I can't see the line really well. I don't want to cross too much. Oh, it's because there's a pen mark there, that's why. So he needs a little bit more fill, so we'll just go up one more time. And then we'll do this one. Trying to get right to those stitch lines to punch that down. Those are very small, but they will just put like a little thickening right there that is going to set these apart right there. So that's why I want that. And I think we're done. Let's see. I'm just going to double check real quick, make sure we got them all before I take it out. Because there's no need to come back here if we don't want to. So then we'll just come up here and just do the tacking right in there, because that one looks like he could use a little more stitching. So a little bit micro tacking right there, and then we'll cut that. Yeah, Joanne, I like it too. I think it does add the movement to the flower. Let me pull it up and we'll give a little closer look so you can kind of see right there. And then there's our little fills right there. And then let's flip it. There is a little stitching on the back. Drawing on the back, but I think you'll still be able to see it. So we'll try and still show that off a little bit. right? Oh, it's kind of messy there. It's hard to see it with all those markings, but I love it, right? Doesn't it look so cool? And that was a nice travel path. I mean, it was not difficult and quilted up pretty fast, which I love. So definitely gives that a little bit of that energy, like it's going a direction, sort of like that. So we've done, let's see, 4 different sections today. So we did actually a lot. We kind of got a little bit further on this area of the quilt that we wanted to. So let me just see real quick. Is one seam ripper better than another? Oh, I just saw this. Okay, let me answer that. Why is it doing that? Hang on just a second, you guys. I'm trying to scroll up to see the comments. So Judy asked, is one seam ripper better than another? Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you my own personal truth, right? Nobody's paying me to say this. The best one I've ever found is this one. This is the Bernina. That's Burnett. So that's not the one I'm talking about. It's this one. Bernina. This is the best seam ripper I've ever had. And this is how much I like it. I have a lot of them. Because if they're dull, they're going out the door immediately. A good seam ripper. Here's my story, right? Alice Ridge, God bless you. I love you. Great friend of mine, taught me a lot about quilting, a lot. I quilted with her for like 15 years. She was my neighbor in Korea, and my husband lived far away. And when I first got there, she's like, oh, I heard you're a quilter. Why don't you come over and quilt on Tuesday nights? I quilted on Tuesday and Thursday nights every week for the next 3 years. I even had a night nanny because my husband didn't live with us. He lived on the DMZ. So I quilted with her 2 days a week for years. And then when we moved, we had a year separation, but she eventually moved to Fort Sill, and my husband and I lived there, and she ended up being my next door neighbor. And our sewing rooms faced each other, so we quilted another 3 years there. And so we've been friends for a long time. She basically hosted my baby shower for my daughter, who is now 15, almost 16. And she's an amazing quilter, so go check her out, Alice Ridge. She's amazing. And for Christmas one year, she bought me a new seam ripper. And I was like, oh, I have lots of seam rippers. I don't need one. She's like, oh, just take it. So I used it. Oh my gosh. The ones that I had been given were given to me by my aunt when I got married. So they were already like 15 years old when I got this new seam ripper, probably. And I could not believe how great it worked. If your seam ripper is not performing, it is such an inexpensive tool and it is difficult to sharpen. Don't try it. Just get a new one. You will be amazed at how much happier you will be. So I really, really encourage you to get a good one. Now, you don't have to get this one, but I do think that if you have access to this one, it's pretty awesome. So, but just find a good one, find a good one. You can test it in the store. Most of those are openable, so you can give it a check if you're at a quilt store. So anyway, love my quilting family, and definitely it has been life enhancing. I hope you have somebody to share this with, or at least somebody who appreciates your effort. And, I think that everybody here has probably had a story where they gave a quilting item as a gift, a quilted item, and you know how much love and energy and effort you put into it. And then I had somebody tell me one time, not right when I got it, but like maybe 2 or 3 years later, it was a family member, and they're like, oh, that's not really my colors. And I was like, great. Well, I'll take it back if you don't want it. So I think that, it's hard. You need somebody that appreciates your ability and your skill and your effort and your time. So make sure that your quilty recipients do a good job receiving your products. Anyway, so this is my favorite one of the day. I love this one. Anyway, so I'll go ahead and I'll post the picture of the next parts, and I will be posting this on YouTube. So the kit and caboodle, this is part 4, and we're going to have all of them collected on the YouTube under the kit and caboodle playlist. So eventually they'll all be there. And in fact, I think part 2, I posted it, and it was part 1, but part 2 is posting there today. Part 3 is posting next week, and then the week after that, part 4. Reminder, I am going to Road to California. So next Friday, I will be working. I will not be available for Freemotion Fridays. And I do prefer to do this live so that we can answer questions like the ones that came in today. So I will be seeing you not next week, but the week after that, at the end of, towards the end of January, right? So I'll be gone next week. Oh, I'm sorry that that's okay. Hopefully the feed will be able to be reviewed, right? Somebody said that they're missing a lot because the feed is stalling. Hopefully when you go back, you'll still be able to view it. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Have a lovely day, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. Enjoy it. I hope your weather is tolerable, if not awesome. And definitely look for us. I think we'll probably post from Road. So this is Moore's Sewing from Southern California is going to be the sponsor for me. And they really do a great job. I have seen how amazingly they care for their clients. So I love working with them. They're very respectful and just really want to do right by people. So if you need something in California, you should come check it out and come visit us. Have a great day, you guys. Bye-bye.